Aloha! I'm back again with my series Pieces of the Puzzle, where I interview my clients and I ask them to tell me 3 to 5 pieces of the puzzle that have helped them achieve their goal. Now, we all know that there are many, many pieces to the puzzle, but I just thought this would give the viewers some insight on what are some of the things these champions are doing. And I'm so excited to welcome today one of my great friends and clients, Emma McGowan. Emma is, well, welcome, Emma. Let's show everybody your face.
Good afternoon, Cynthia.
And so Emma is, oh my gosh, definitely one of my favorite Team USA teammates. And, you know, I would love to say my favorite, but then I'll just offend everyone else. So,
Yeah, you
but
can say
we've had a really great time running track meets together. And I'm just going to say my first memory that sticks out of you, Emma, is when I went to my first world championships in Spain and I was running the rounds of the 400, which you have to run 3 times. And I was really pumped to run. And so I was running really fast through the 300 and you were telling me to shut it down because in the rounds, you're not supposed to run full out. You're supposed to save some for the final. And you were telling me, shut it down, shut it down. And then you come after me afterwards and said, why didn't you shut it down? I said, I did. And you said, oh, too late, 50 meters to go, you know? And I just
yes.
thought that was so nice that you cared so much about me and how my race was going to go, that you were looking out for me. So again, thank you for that. And I've loved you ever since.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. So Emma, I was world champion once. You were world champion how many times?
11 time individual, 11 time and 16 time with the relays.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I didn't count my relays, but yeah, 11 times individual world champion. And you started, when did you start running Masters track?
I was 44 in the age 44 age group, and 2012. I really start training in September 2012.
And what made you start sprinting at 44?
Um, I was doing soccer for 7 years because I was taking care of my kids. They were still toddlers, and having a special needs daughter, I want to have a schedule better than to watch my daughter and my son. So one of my teammates from soccer say, "Why, Emma, you run fast? Why don't you go back to track?" I say, "Oh, it's not a bad idea. I go and look it up." And then I start training 2012, and then competed my first indoor national in 2013, win the 60 second and 200. So that was excited.
Yeah, so we should tell everybody your races are everything. You are, a true sprinter. Your races are everything from the 60 meters, which is the shortest indoor race there is, and then all the way to the you do the 200, and then you also do the 400. So
Yes.
all the sprints. And what I like to do is inspire other women who are especially over 40 to start sprinting and encompass the training for all 3 of those, because I really do feel like when you incorporate 400-meter training, you get all 3 energy systems, right? So you're getting the ATP creatine phosphate system of the explosion, you're getting the lactate phase, and you're getting a little bit of endurance, but not too much where it's going to throw your hormones out of balance. So yeah, so you are a shining example of taking, a mom who's got a full life and a lot of responsibilities, and showing that you can sprint and you can get faster as you age. You've done very well, and you can be multiple world champion. So you, like my other clients, but especially you, you're a prime example of being your superhero optimal self at any age. And you're still going. I know you're going to retire maybe soon, maybe not. I don't know. You keep going. But you recently competed in Sweden, and then you competed last year in Tehran indoor, and many more medals again. And so I guess, let's start and tell me, what are some of the what's one piece of the puzzle that you felt has helped you get to achieve your goals?
The first one is the determination, the dedication, and the commitment, because all of this group together And of course, the coaching training help a lot, because without the coach, it's not all for me. It's a team. It's a team with my coach. So the athlete do a lot, but the coach is it take two to tango. So that's my three piece of the puzzle.
Did you ever
Determination.
train on your own?
I've trained on my own. My coach is in Arkansas, and then I'm trained in Georgia. So, but he coached me for the full year when I was in Illinois from 2014 to 15, and then I moved to Georgia, and then he say, "Oh, I don't know, Emma, if we're gonna keep doing it because you far away and it's tough to train somebody is remotely." And I say, "Well, we can try, and so we did it.
Done a great job.
Yeah, so far so good. But I got lucky to be medal every time I go to World Championship, because I mean 2018 was not my greatest, but then I came back for the 2 and the 4, the 2018, and I got medal. But the 100 was a catastrophe. But I don't know, it happened. We cannot be on the top all the time.
This is
It's
the nature of sport, and that's
Yes.
what you said with that will, that sheer willpower, that determination, that dedication. That's where that comes in, because if you were to take one failure and say, okay, that's it, I'm not going to run anymore, or something like that, like,
Yeah.
nope, you would never, or one failure in practice, because let's face it, I've seen some of the stuff that you've done, and it is hard. So
Mhm.
sometimes, I don't know, you might not make your times, right? I mean, I don't always make my times in practice. And so it's like, you can't just give up if you're not achieving what you are setting out to do. So I guess that I love that determination is part of your puzzle. Your piece
Yeah,
of the puzzle.
because I was, even if my coach is not there, and if it's practice, I can hear his voice. So who's world champion? You have to train like a world champion, but it's easier to say than do. So that's another motivation to do it. I'm competitive too, but we cannot always win. Like I say, when we fail, we human. It's a lot of pressure for somebody who's doing like I do, the 11-time world champion. It's a lot of pressure because people are expecting you to do win all the time. But it's not. I mean, the competition is hard every year, no matter what age group. It can be the 35 to 90 years age group. The competition is always there. You go to world, you are on a mission. But for me, so
Absolutely. Yeah. So what are some of the, with your coach, like what are some of the ways he prepares you think, for the world championships so far away? So like, for instance, our world championships is in March.
mhm.
So does he, how does he structure programs for you? Like
Yes.
what are ways that you think he prepares you for
It,
the world
it
championship?
prepared me to make sure I can do 3 rounds, because when you go to World Championship, it's not only one time or 2 time in your event. It's at least 3 rounds for each event. So we do a long one day, middle distance another day, and the sprint. And then in between, we manage to do weight room, which is not my forte. I'm not a
What? This is shocking to
It is
hear. I mean,
not.
because like you're
Gym is
so
not.
jacked. Your muscles are like ripped. You're ripped. So
It might be
this is shocking.
genetic, but it's not. I mean, seriously, if I'm an outdoor girl, I'm not
Oh, okay. So it's like the
indoor.
inside factor.
Like anything outdoor, when you put me in the gym, I'm not. I'm a happy place in there. I do it, but it's not. It's not my forte.
So how many times a week do you strength train?
Once, and then
Once a week.
plyo once a week. And then, but that, like I say, I do outdoor, the plyo, mobility hurdles,
Right. So you're doing other strength work in your training outside as well.
yeah, but I never do heavy lift. Never.
So like,
Be-
what percentage would you say if you're not doing heavy lift, like probably not 50% of the weight that you could lift, because that would be too light. So probably what, like the 70 to 80%
Yeah,
range?
Yeah,
So not
probably
as, not your max, but just a little bit less. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then, do you write your own strength programs or does your coach do that too?
My coach do that too.
Oh, okay, good. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm saying good because again, like I'm seeing some of the workouts that you've done, or I see your results, and I just have a feeling that I know that your coach knows what he's doing because he's just, you're
Sometimes
so strong every time you show up to World Championships, and I love that you said running the rounds because I talk about that all the time. Like you got to be able to run the rounds when you're a professional, but also these high school kids. I feel like sometimes they're not prepared for their championship meets because whether it be, their state championship or, a Nike outdoor or something like that, or a USATF youth national championship, I feel like a lot of times they're not prepared because their coaches are not preparing them for how you feel when you have to run a 400 one day and then come back and run it again the next day and come back and run it again the next day. Or maybe you've already done, like in your case, you've already done the 60 meters and then 3 rounds of that. Then you ran the 200, 3 rounds of that, and the 400, or vice versa, because they change the order all the time at the World Championship meets. Maybe you got to run the 400 first. So there's all kinds of, so do you, so I like how you broke down, it's the longer runs and then the medium and then the short. So then he's covering all the bases.
yes.
Awesome.
That's
So
another reason when coach gave me my workout, he gave it to me either the night before or the day off because he always want to know how do you feel after that training, because if my legs don't feel or it's not the right moment of the month, you have to take care of this, and then if it's then you understand why the time I don't hit the time, or I did the time too fast, but barely too fast, but anyway. Um, but it's always you always take care of make sure everything is good.
right. So
And
he's individualizing it to you.
stretching is the most important thing to after each session.
Uh-huh.
And that's another thing I focus on because being 56 years old, we don't
Oh,
have
I
speak
forgot to
of
mention that you are 56 years old because
yes,
nobody would ever guess. Emma is
it is
56, by
possible.
the way.
Excuse me.
I was just saying, by the way, to our viewers, Emma's 56 because nobody would ever guess.
Thank you. So yeah, so that's one of my biggest things this year to add the stretching, like at least a good 20 minutes stretching after I finish each session.
Okay, awesome. So what are some other ways that you recover? And is that a piece of your puzzle?
Oh, I do the thank you to you too, and then ATP Lab. I'm doing your supplement. I'm being your client for over 2 years now, and I'm very pleased for anything and you give and then walk with me about it because that helped me for the recover for my the sleeping, the recover, and then anything inside your body.
Yeah, so like muscle. So we I have you on amino acids and glutamine and glycine and some
Mhm.
sleep support supplements because let's just be honest, at in your 40s and 50s, women are going through a lot of hormonal changes and myself included. And
Mhm.
I have no interest in any perimenopause symptoms. I'm kicking that crap to the curb. I'm like, no, thank you. I have no time for this. And so, I did a bunch of research and I've, of course, helped clients over the years with perimenopause and menopause, many clients. And so some supplements work for some people that don't work for others. But individualizing to see what that each body needs is key. So like that's why I love to work individually with clients and not just give blanket advice. I mean, there are some things that are good for everybody, but it's like, yeah, you need to be able to recover your body, especially when you're giving your all at your workout. Because if you're anything like me, you're run until you drop, basically run until you have no more left, kind of thing on those longer days.
Mhm. Yeah, and then some athletes should get in touch with you because I know they talking to me about it, and then I say, well, you should just talk to Cynthia about it because she's the best one to recommend. Everybody is different, so you should just call Cynthia and talk about it.
Oh,
About
well,
that.
thank you. Yes, because right, because what you're taking might not be,
Exactly.
correct for them. So yeah, and that's individualizes the way to go, just like your coach individualizes your workouts. So
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, I wrote a sprint program for, the general population for beginning sprinters, to basically encompass the same type of thing. The day one is like a volume day, day two is a medium, and day two is short, and then day three is like the medium or race model for anything from the 60 to the 400. And
Hmm.
so, even though individualized coaching is best, at least they have a structured program that can get them to, sprinting really well, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think is another piece of the puzzle that has helped you contribute to your achieving your goals?
So challenge. I have a lot of challenge with the challenge um, and the motivation. That one. And the competition. That's motivation. That's it. That's other
So,
piece.
so what you're saying is like you look for the challenge. You're
I look
literally
for the
looking
challenge,
and you're looking forward to it.
but the motivation is one of the basic one because the when you win everything like I did, then the motivation is like so. I know every 4 years you change age groups. This is a new challenge. So I just changed age group last year. So that was a new challenge, and then I have the challenge because I didn't win. I didn't win in Sweden. I finished second and third. So, but I'm not disappointed about it. I mean, I'd say it's always when you go to World Championships, the goal is to make it to the semi and then make to the final, and then whenever you want to place, and that's another challenge, but that's what I
Exactly. So I have another client, or well, actually, he's not my client, but well, he's sort of my client friend, that I train with sometimes, and it was his first World Championships, and his goal, because it was his first one, was to just make it to through the first round, you
Mhm.
know, and he
Yes,
was able to do that in one of his races, so he was happy with that, and then he got to run on a
exactly.
relay for his country. He's not from USA, but he got to run on a relay for his country, so like, that was, I guess, like, I would love for more women to start sprinting, and they don't have to be going for like world championship, but these tips are helpful to get them motivated to try. So what you're saying is it's okay, like you go for the next challenge. Yeah. So maybe their challenge starting out would be just entering a track meet. Um,
Yes.
yeah, or maybe their challenge is just going to their local park and start learning how to sprint.
Well,
Start
the
getting fit.
companionship, the camaraderie is nice too, because when you go to national, you say, oh, you start knowing the Team USA. And then when you go to World Championship, it's better. I mean, you say, well, I'm going to run against the best of the world. So it's always nice to see different culture and different athletes around the world. So
Oh my
that's
gosh. It's so much fun to see everyone. And I talked with Christina about this too, about how Masters Track is just so welcoming, and
yes,
everyone's supportive of each other. So no one's going to laugh at you and say, "Oh, haha, you're a terrible sprinter." Like that
yeah,
is not going to happen. They're going to
no,
say, "Oh, like, do you need help with your form or with your start?" Or like, everyone's so like just welcoming, and like, yeah, like you said, the camaraderie. You end up leaving a master's track meet with friends. Like
yes.
absolutely, 100%. You're making a friend, probably several, at a master's track meet. So I'm so thankful to the USA Track and Field for having that opportunity for us.
Yes, and then stay humble. Stay humble too, because some people they sometimes have some athletes they afraid to come and talk to me. But I say, well, I'm just saying, well, and Yeah, and then my friend, one of my other friends, say, "Well, Emma, you didn't win the world championship, but you were so happy for your competitor." I say, "Yeah, what you want me to do? Just be mad at them?" I say, "No, I mean, fair is fair. They won, they be in front of me. I'm happy for them. I'm gonna hug everybody, and then even people who didn't win and they in the final with me. We all work hard to get where we were. So." It's fair is fair.
Yeah, it's like a mutual respect kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like you know that they're also training hard and they're also trying to win. And sometimes it's, whether it's the travel or, just,
Yeah,
execution or like there are so many different factors to, make like getting that medal or getting that place that you just sport is sport. Some days are good and some days aren't. And so yeah, it's like you respect them because it was their day,
and
and
it's
hers.
another challenge for us. I mean, we can get injured for nothing. I mean, you can be great 1 week before the championship, and then something happen, and unfortunately, you do your best. But
Yeah, except you've managed to stay injury free. Been doing really well.
oh, yeah, I mean, I tried to. I got that injury with my knee for I would say 9 months, but I suck it up. But I mean, I just did the MRI, so I'm waiting for the result for next week. But hopefully, it's nothing serious. But so, like the doctor say, the ortho say, "Well, you've been running all the time since May." Since I saw you, I say, "Yeah." So the pain is not, I don't know, maybe a 2 out of 10. So he said, "Well, I, so that's good then." That's it. So, but I just want to do MRI to make sure everything is
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, and I think it's probably fine, and that's why we also cycle off and have breaks after we have our year. And so I'm
Mhm.
always telling people, even if you're recreationally sprinting, it's good to have a time period in your year that
Mhm.
you take off, a time period that you're looking to peak. Like again, even if you're not entering a track meet, if you're just
Yeah.
sprinting in your local park for health reasons, like it's good to have like a peak where you're going to be running your best and then back off because
Yeah.
our body needs that rest.
We
Um,
don't like to back off though, because when we know it's so close to the championship, you don't want to back up. You just
I mean, afterwards, like
after.
yeah, off season. Everyone needs an off season, even if
Yes.
you're recreationally sprinting.
Hmm.
So when you talk about your motivation and your will to go to the track and what do you, where is that coming from? Like, where do you feel that motivation from?
Well, it's kind of, I would say this is the MR break. So the motive is it's to go out for myself, and then when I see my competitor, that's going to motivate me to train a bit, not harder, but I mean, I'm going to train. I'm going to train to get at least where I'm supposed to be, or better,
So
because
are there any are like when I run hard intervals sometimes are there any cues that help you through your intervals? Like for instance, sometimes I'll say like, okay, I just gotta start fast, or I just gotta push this curve, or I just gotta relax, or like, are there any cues that you give yourself for like when you don't want to go to the track and you go, or like even within your intervals? Like, what do you say to yourself? What in your head?
I
What's
want
driving
to,
you? Because you're saying something to yourself if you're thinking about I have to train. Like, what are you
yeah,
saying to yourself?
I have to train because if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. So when I see, let's see, if my coach give me a 4.54 2 time. So you think about, oh my God, this 2 time 4.54. How am I going to do this? Because after the 500, you're thinking about, I have a four and I have another set of it. But like I told you, I hear the voice of my coach. Okay, you're a champion. You got to work. You have to work like a world champion. So that's my motivation because I don't want to hear about that. Then the coach say, "Well, you see, you should do it, and now you didn't do it. That's maybe why you didn't get where you were supposed to go get." So that's my motivation. My coach is Clifton
You,
Carpenter
you
is my biggest motivator mission
Yes,
because
Clifton Culpepper, shout out to him. Great job with Emma.
Yes.
And I, yeah, it's like, so you hear his voice in your head and he's reminding you got to train like a world champion. What about like when you're running and you're like so tired and you don't want to do another one? Like you just say, I just have to do it, or like do you say but what do you tell yourself? How do you execute while you're running? Do you say any cues to yourself?
I just do it.
You don't
I,
think about it.
I don't think about it. I say, I don't care if it's slower, but I'm going to do it. I'm going
Okay,
to,
so even if you don't hit your time, you're like, I'm just gonna do this rep even if I don't hit my time. So you're taking the pressure off of yourself to hit that
yes.
time, although you probably usually do. Like or you're gonna say, I'm just gonna do it anyway.
I know it's not going to hit what the time he wants, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to do it. Like I told you, I don't want to have any regret. Ah, I should have, could have, would have, So I do it.
Yes,
That's that's it.
yep.
Because I
I
think
can feel that, especially with the 4-5-4 times 2 workout. I feel that. But okay, so and then what about rest periods? Because like I know sometimes we have, specific rest periods. Um, for me, I'm very a stickler about staying true to the rest period. So if the rest period is like 2 minutes, then I'm going to make sure that it's 2 minutes on the dot that I'm back on the line. Oh, I think you froze there for a minute. Are you still
yeah.
there?
No,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go. And so like I'm a stickler about that. Whereas like sometimes I see other athletes and they either won't finish the workout or they like, they take it's supposed to be 3 minutes rest, they take like 8, and then that becomes a
yeah.
totally different workout. So like how do you
I
make
might,
sure
I might cheat like 15 to 30 seconds but yeah, I try to stick with the time he asks me to the rest. But if I do 15 to 30, it's cheating, but at least I'm doing it.
yeah.
So that's not quitting. It's longer, but I'm doing it,
No, I
right?
think this is perfect because again, like people might think that that we don't have give ourselves leeway or we don't give ourselves rest or we do so much. Like I'm still in awe that you're only in the gym once a week. Although I know you're doing your strength training other places, but and you're running what 3 times a week?
3 times a week, yeah. And then no, the fourth one is every Sunday I do mileage to clean up the whatever I did during the week. That's a jog, like a 2 mile jog every Sunday. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So a little bit of the endurance work, but
yeah, but I mean jogging,
yeah,
not yeah.
but just to
Two
move, to
miles
get
in
blood flowing.
20,
Yeah,
21 minutes is jogging,
yeah.
right? Recovery.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that training for the decathlon. I incorporated some like slower runs, but I didn't do more than a mile. And then some days when I felt better, I would do a little bit faster, and then some days I would just get through it. Just so I think mentally for the 400 especially, but also for the 1500 and the decathlon, I needed to be able to know that I could consistently run that far
Yeah.
and
No,
not die.
it's not. I go to a park, then I check my watch, the Garmin watch, and then I check my. I like that the nature. I don't do that on the track. No, I do that in the park.
Do you have a favorite sprint workout that you do, or like a
Uh,
favorite type?
yes, when we do the fastest in the short distance, like 60 meters, you take that, divide by 3 or 80 meters, 100 meters, 120, 150. Yeah, I like that's one of my favorite. And the block start. Yeah, that's
Well,
my
you're
favorite.
very powerful out of the blocks, so I can
Yeah,
imagine.
I do, but it's not everything out the blocks. That's what the coach say. So it's patience.
It's true. That's true. With the faster, fastest, I think that's something that maybe the viewers could try on their own, and that's actually probably a good way to start sprinting. If you're
Hmm.
new to sprinting, and what that is that you're explaining is that say you take 60 meters and you
Hmm.
divide it into 3, which is 20 meters. And
Hmm.
you can measure with a measuring wheel, or sometimes people use different things to measure. Somebody told me the other day they use some sort of golf device to measure like how
Yeah,
far,
some use their
or
phone.
maybe a range finder or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then you start out at what like a lower percentage, excuse me, and then the medium through the second 20 meters, right? And then fastest through the
Yes.
third 20 meters.
Yes.
And that way, what are you working on? Are you working on like breathing or relaxing or like,
Speed,
so turnover?
turnover.
Okay. And what
Yes.
about, I mean, probably form, yeah.
Excuse me?
Do you work on form when you're running?
Yeah, yes, but the form is more like when we do another workout. This one's going to be form and then low feet, arm. Yeah.
Okay, so but the FFF is for mostly just getting your speed up.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a great way because then I think sometimes people when they start sprinting too, they just go really fast off the line and then
Mhm.
they're more likely to be injured that way if they're not experienced. So I
Yeah.
think that's a great workout to try.
Hmm.
And
It
then
is.
I know that as masters athletes, again, we juggle so much, but what about family support? Because for me, that's a huge one.
Well, family support is there. It was not easy at the first when I started doing it because, like I told you, I have a special need daughter. But it's better. It's better. And then, it was not easy, but it's better. That's what I have to say.
Okay, we have a lot that we give up and sacrifice and a lot of responsibilities back home when we go and compete. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes. I mean, my, my, my son and daughter is in their 20s, so it's easier than somebody have kids that like younger than ours or younger than or young like yours, so it's easier for me to get out than the responsibility is not as bad as if I have younger kid,
yeah, I see a lot of some of the younger women in the 35 age group and early
yeah,
40s, and
yeah,
they've got their really young kids, and
yeah,
sometimes they're the meets, and it's a lot to juggle.
it is.
Still killing it. So go mamas.
Yes, go mamas.
I just had a girl that I helped win the elite decathlon, and she just had a baby. She actually her baby is less than 2 years old, and
Ooh,
yeah, and she had the baby out there, basically with her and her husband, and it's just like we're like I said, like it's never too late to be your superhero optimal self, and I think
mhm.
that's really inspiring for so many people.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
And
It-
so, yeah, what any message that you have to aspiring sprinters? Like anyone, like maybe a woman who's turned 40 and she doesn't want to run a marathon and she wants to start sprinting. Like, any suggestions for starting to sprint?
well, just go for it. I mean, we sometimes, like I say, we need a break, and then if you want to start a new sport like track and field, it's nice. It's just go for it.
Yeah, don't hesitate. Don't be shy. That's what I tell people all the time. Don't be shy because
No,
again, like I think some people don't want to do track meet, but I want everybody to sign up for World Championships in March because it's in Florida. It's the first time it's in the United States. And
yes.
yeah, like why not run for Team USA? And Jerry, the head of USATF Masters, was telling me that it's mostly men that sign up for World Championships, and I didn't know that. He said it's something like 70% men. And so
Yes,
I'm really on a mission to get women to run with us for Team USA, and there's no qualifications.
yeah.
So, you might not make it through the first round, but no one's going to laugh at you. You're going to make friends, and it's going to be a great time. And you get to wear and represent your country.
Represent. Yes, that's
Yeah,
that's being proud of the country USA. When you wear that uniform, you represent. And no matter what, if you only do one round, who cares? You just here to represent. That's the best.
that is. Oh, that's so exciting. It's so inspiring. Well,
Hmm.
okay. Do you have any other pieces that you want to add before we wrap it up?
I'm
Good.
good.
Yeah, and I love that. Again, back to the main thing about the challenge and everything, because the a couple neuroscientists that I follow, they were just talking about how important it was to always challenge yourself, and you actually, it helps your brain and helps you with neuroplasticity and everything when you seek that challenge and you're looking for that challenge. And so, being curious about that challenge, and I think that you're a prime example of that and
Ah,
being successful while doing it.
thank
And
you.
I'm happy to be your metabolic practitioner. I'm happy to help you with what supplements to take and what foods to eat, and keep you rocking and rolling. And so I hope that our viewers will be inspired and join us and in Florida because we'll
Yeah,
be there. You and I will both be there running
yeah,
the
yeah.
mountains. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Emma, for joining me today. And I will definitely be
Mhm.
talking to you soon. Much gratitude and aloha.
Aloha.